What's up guys, this is Yasin. So a few years ago, Konami has made the brilliant decision of banning Arch Nemesis Protos. A couple years after, or months or whatever, it doesn't matter, who cares, they have made the extremely stupid decision to unban it. So now we have to deal with this annoying card, right? Also, the worst part about Protos is that, well, first of all, it's still broken, but it's easier than ever to search now. It's not like you can only search it in Sword Soul with Emergence or Heavenly Dragon Circle. There are way more ways to search it. I mean, every deck that can make a rank 4 can easily turbo out Protos. And honestly, regardless of the attribute that you call, there's just so many decks that you can cover nowadays, because a lot of decks are kind of like monochrome, where they only really play with one attribute, Vanquish Soul being like an extremely good exception to the rule. But I think Protos, right now, if you can turbo it out consistently, right, which is very easy to achieve, again, it's just Infernal Flame Banshee, search Flag, search Protos, you kind of just beat 99% of the format, pretty much in a way. So yeah, today I wanted to kind of put into perspective why Protos is a card that is extremely underrated right now and underappreciated and also underplayed. Even though it's a really broken card that everybody is afraid of, for some reason, not everybody is playing it. So it's just interesting. It's always like a unique dynamic when a card is clearly ban-worthy, but it's not getting exploited enough, and I wanted to kind of just showcase why the card is much better than people give it credit for. But before we go any further, you already know the drill, smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. Shout out to my Blue Eyes and Crystron spreadsheet, which you can find on my website, yacineygo.com. Always the very first link at the top of the description box below. And also huge shout outs to my sponsors, Supreme Pro, again, always repping the merch. And check out tsx1.com for 10% off using the coupon code YACIN10. And with that being said, let's get right into it. Okay, so one build that has been gaining quite a little bit in popularity recently has been Raziel Nemesis. And it's not even a deck that always relies on, Banshee to search Flag and then summon Protos, because banishing a card is actually kind of difficult. So sometimes you do have to use your normal summon on the Flag, so that then you can, search the Protos and then special summon the Protos normally, etc. blah blah. And obviously that deck inherently has access to the Fire and Light attributes very easily, which gives you enough coverage for 50% of the Raziel, mirror match, because that's naturally just, X and Ice Raziel, or Sword and Node Raziel, so they can't special summon either of them. And also Duo Drive is the Fire, and Detonator is the Light. So regardless of what you call, pretty much 50% of your opponent's engine is nullified. And that's something that you can do without using weird cards like Reprodocus and stuff. And that's the reason why I said that Protos is just naturally good even on game 1. Now, Protos is a card that cannot be destroyed by card effects, including its own card effects. So if you call Dark, what's going to happen is that Protos is not gonna die, and regardless of if there were any other Darks on the field or not, neither player will be able to special summon Dark monsters for the rest of the turn. However, you cannot call an attribute that doesn't exist on the field, so Protos being a Dark, it's always gonna work, and Arch Nemesis Eschatos being a Dragon means that you can always call Dragon. The reason why Protos is considered a better card than Eschatos is because Protos covers 6 attributes, whereas Shadows, I forgot the exact amount of types, but it's a lot. It's like 12 or something like that. So mathematically speaking, there is like a lower probability of Shadows actually covering ground, whereas Protos, it has less ground to cover, because obviously there's less possibilities, since there's like 3 or 4 times less attributes than there are types. But yeah, Protos obviously is a Wyrm, whereas Shadows is a Dragon, and obviously they're both Nemesis monsters, so searchable of a Flag. And all these cards are searchable by Small World, which is a card that is pretty popular in Raziel Nemesis. So shoutouts to Carl Manigat, who managed to get top 32 at Wysis Providence with this unique strategy, even though it's not a strategy that people necessarily like, because, it triples out a Floodgate, but it is still unique compared to everything else that is being played. Like I said, Sword Soul Emergence as well as Heavenly Dragon Circle can easily search out your Arch Nemesis Protos, because it is a weird monster, but it doesn't work with its Shadows. But like I said, Protos is the superior card most of the time anyways. However, if you prefer Eschatos, which is completely fine, by the way, I mean, both of these cards are very similar, so it's not the end of the world. If you want to play Eschatos, then you can search it with Tempest Dragon, Ruler of Storms. It's not super viable, but it still can happen, so if you're playing Dragon Ruler, that's something that you can easily do, and that's also something that I have seen. Melody of Awakening Dragon should also be able to search it, because, it has 3000 attack as well as 2500 defense. So it all works. And then Bestial Magnamut can end phase search as Shadows. It could be a board breaker going second. You call Cyburst against Malice, and they won't be able to like float with all their, I mean, they won't be able to like go here or GWC, etc. So if you resolve it early, then it's gonna force out a response for sure. and Bonfire can obviously search out Nemesis Flag. And again, Banshee can search Flag, which searches both of these cards. Anyways, if you call the light attribute with the Protos, by the way, if you see like a bear statue, it's just to like showcase like visually for all the people that kind of struggle to like keep up the attribute that I'm talking about. And the reason why I will be especially focusing on light, dark, and fire is because I truly believe that these are the best attributes in the game, whereas, you know, water, earth, and wind, they're a little more niche. That doesn't mean that they suck, but I mean, the wind definitely sucks. I mean, I couldn't really think of a lot of good wind decks out there. Ritual Beast is probably one of the exceptions to the rule, but even then, it hasn't seen play in a hot minute. But yeah, anyways, the light bearer, the light attribute that you can call with Protos, it covers a lot of ground. I mean, it's gonna prevent your opponent from summoning X-Raziel and Ice-Raziel. The whole Fiendsmith package is fully shut down, as well as a Santa Claus that is searchable by Fiendsmith's Tract. So your opponent won't be able to like search out a kaiju if you're playing Lunalight. That might matter. The Blue Eyes deck is 100% crippled. The only thing that you can do is like special summon some Primate monsters, which is not really real. So that's actually insane against them. The Evil Twin strategy, again, completely destroyed. They pretty much only play light monsters in the extra deck, light fiends. I mean, it's basically just another Fiendsmith deck. So anything that just involves Fiendsmith, and especially if if the main engine is like a bunch of light monsters, Protos calling light will wipe the floor with them. White Forest, same thing. Whether they play Fiendsmith or not, calling the light attribute against White Forest is like guaranteed you cannot lose. Like they have to special summon multiple times, otherwise this deck is doing literally less than nothing. They technically can summon the Vengeance, the Abel Star, whatever. It's a great card, but like, who cares? It's not going to be enough, and also good luck summoning that card when you can't even summon the LZ or something of the White Forest, which will send the trap card to search a spell that searches the Abel Star Vengeance, so very difficult to get to. Voice's Voice gets obviously completely crippled. The Melodious Engine overall, just everything gets destroyed. You can't even use Ostinato or whatever. So yeah, it's a lot of dead cards in your deck. Imagine playing Melodious Fiendsmith something. Holy crap, your deck is gonna be trash. And even Nibiru, I guess, if you like, if you're making a half board on turn 1 with like 4 summons, and then like next turn, you know, you call something, and then next turn you're like, okay, I'm gonna call light, and then I'm gonna full combo. You can't get Nibiru later on, so that's actually not too bad, because obviously it's an illegal activation. Like, you can't successfully special summon. So yeah, a lot of things that you can do with the light attribute. The dark attribute is, I want to say, like, at least equally better, if not even better than calling light. And also the fact that you can inherently always call dark with Protos is the reason why this card is so broken. You don't even need to play a single dark monster in your deck. You will always be able to, like, at least try to destroy yourself, and the card will resolve as much as possible, so it's still gonna prevent both players from summoning dark monsters. And the Protos is gonna survive anyway, so, you know, who cares? So yeah, for the dark attribute, you can demolish Mitsurugi in literally 2 seconds. If you're playing against pure Mitsurugi, the game is done so. Like, actually over, it's a wrap. There's absolutely nothing that they can do about it. And honestly, because of the fact that, I mean, like, this is inherent summon, sure, but like Flag, if you want to play around like Impulse and stuff, you're gonna have to like normal summon Flag, so there technically is a way to like play around a lot of hand traps. It's just that Imperm is still a threat, but the reason why I'm making this video also is because a lot of people have been dropping Valor and Imperm, which are great cards to deal with Protos. So they're playing a lot of like Chummies and Trolls, and you know, all those kinds of cards, all the turn skips, which are cool and all, but if your opponent just makes like a floodgate board, then it's not gonna matter. So that's the reason why I think Mitsurugi, it might not be necessarily the play for you if you're scared of Protos. Orchist, also same thing, everything is dark, so you get demolished. If you're playing Mitsurugi Orchist, your worst nightmare quite literally is Protos, because you can have gas for days, like a great hand going second, and it's not gonna matter because you're not gonna be able to play the game. Malice, it gets mega destroyed. There's basically just no workaround. Like, if you true about Protos, yeah, it's rough for you. It's really rough for you. Like, there's nothing you can do. It's not even like you can. It's worse than Lancia. Like, even the Administra stuff, everything gets fully shut down. It's absolutely terrible. Lunalight literally just scoops the game immediately. There is nothing they can do. The only monsters that they can special summon are Lunalight Tiger and Lunalight Wolf, because for some random reason, they're randomly light monsters. But that's never gonna be relevant, so yeah, Lunalight not really playable under the Dark Attribute lock, and Vanquish Soul is remarkable at playing around both Archnemesis Protos and Eschatos, because all their monsters, they cover 3 different attributes, as well as like most types out there, or maybe not most, but a huge amount of them. If you call Dark, then they can't summon Mad Love or Heavy Burger. If you call Fire, they won't be able to summon Raisin, Jiaolong. And if you call Earth, they're not going to be able to summon Caesar as well as Holy Su, which is, you know, pretty good. So clearly you'd rather call Fire and Earth, I guess you can say, especially Fire. Fire is a really big one. But Dark, it's not the best. Like, you know, I guess one thing that is good is that they can't summon the Link one. So that's the one thing I like, and also the fact that, again, it's natural. They can just normal summon the Raisin. That is one big problem. So honestly, just overall, Protos and everything against Vanquish Soul, not the best. And also they play such a huge amount of hand traps. It might just not resolve even, so it can backfire against you. So against Vanquish Soul, I just recommend you don't even like bother with the Arch Nemesis stuff. Against Memento, the Dark attribute is actually terrible to call because there's not a lot of Dark monsters that they really need to special summon. It's more of like a, if they want to, they can, but I guess Gaddick, they won't be able to like special summon it, which obviously doesn't really matter too much. The best Memento monsters are the Earth attribute ones. So there is a Sleepy, Tatsuno Toshigo, as well as Creation King and Combined Creation. All of them are Earth monsters, and that's clearly what you're trying to stop from the opponent. Calling Earth against Memento is going to be Exodia, but not any other attribute, to be completely honest with you. And finishing up for the Dark attribute against Bell, obviously it's just going to be completely insane. They can't do anything about it. And even Despia, they can still summon some light monsters, but the Dark attribute monsters for Despia are much better than the light attribute. Like, they can summon Lubellion, which is worse than Albion most of the time, and they won't be able to summon Mirror Shade. A lot of things get crippled. It hurts a lot. So even though it's not necessarily a turn skip because they can still kind of play, they won't play well enough. Calling the Fire attribute is remarkable as well. It's literally an FTK against Fire King and Tenpai. It's just that these two decks, they're not like super popular. But also, you demolish Sword Raziel as well as Node Raziel and some other fire cards out there, like Lava Golem, for example, if you're scared of that. If you're playing like a Lunalight and you're scared that your opponent might, you know, double Kaiju your opponent. Sorry, your 2 towers. That's pretty scary. So yeah, I mean, even against like trap decks, sometimes you can still like True-Bot Protos. It's not too bad. Calling Water is pretty good against Crystron and Mermail, but that's pretty much it. I mean, I can't think of like other... obviously, there's Necroz. With a new support, it's not too bad, but it's not on the same level as these 2 decks. So, again, I'm gonna have to clarify that. For Earth, there's Gem Knight that gets completely demolished, as well as obviously Memento. And for Wind, I mean, there's really nothing. Ritual Beast, and that's pretty much it. I also did forget to mention that for Dark, it also prevents like generic good cards like Typhon and SP. But I couldn't really think of like a lot of like super generic staples that are in everybody's extra decks that were like the other attributes. It's really just like usually the best cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! They have a tendency to be Dark attributes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this Arch Nemesis video, I guess. It's especially for Protos because I really just talked about attributes. I could talk about types next if you guys are interested, but I think there's more relevance in Protos than there is in Eschatos. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.